Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
So excited to have our next guest with us, Donna Carlson, joining us here on Zoom and, of course, on the podcast. She's the owner at Donna Carlson Coaching from Gilbertsville, Pennsylvania. And we want to I shouldn't say warn you, but the website I want to give you is the word I'm looking for. It's DonnaCarlsonCoaching.com. Welcome back. How are you today?
I'm wonderful, and I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
Well, very happy to have you here. Would you mind introducing yourself to our listeners to start?
Yes, hi everyone. I'm Donna Carlson, and I'm a certified equine gestalt coach and a grief coach. And what that means is I do help women mostly move from grief into healing, hope, and happiness. And I do it by partnering with my horses in the deep healing process.
Wonderful. Well, it's exciting to have you here. And for new listeners today, we got to get to know you, obviously, your background. And I know you help people out there heal their life. You offer a bi-weekly supportive women's coaching group and so much more. Before we get into that, let me find out more about you. Where did you grow up and what brought you into this field with your love of animals, people, and helping everyone?
I'm happy to share that. I grew up in a little row home in Philadelphia. And at the age of 10, I always loved horses. And at the age of 10, I went to my father and said, I'd like to take riding lessons. And he kind of giggled and said, well, we don't have the money for that. And they never quite understood where I came from because I loved horses about everything country. So he said, honey, go get a job. And I went to the local veterinarian and said, I'd like to do something to make some money to pay for riding lessons. And I started cleaning cages, and that paid for my riding lessons. So I've been an equestrian my whole life, and it was after I became widowed for the second time 12 years ago that I felt that I was, that I had it. I had a lot of grief in my background, but I didn't. I fell into a very deep, dark hole, and I knew I would see the light, but I just had to wait for it to come. So eventually I walked myself out to my barn and went into the stall with my eldest gelding, who's a male horse. And I didn't know at the time, but I had a session with him like I had many times before. And I just really cried. And it was a cathartic cry. And he nuzzled me and gave me some love. And it was shortly thereafter that I found a program that I could get a certification in, where I could use my purpose of helping humans heal through the gift of horses.
Perfect. Well, thank you for being here, for joining us. And it's amazing what you've accomplished and all the people that you're helping. Let's start off by talking a little about what it is to be a coach and how does it work?
Yeah, so I coach people from around the world, and I can coach via Zoom. But in person is where the real magic happens. Horses are highly intuitive. They have not only physically huge hearts, but they also give in a way that no other animal, even though all animals do try to help humans, but horses are just natural healers. Like I said, they're highly intuitive. Horses live in the moment. That is where they'd like humans to live. They don't live in the past, so they really don't have depression. They don't live in the future. They really don't have anxiety. Of course, a horse will have those things if they are not treated properly by a human or if their needs aren't being met. But they try to get a human to live in the moment and to really get out of our monkey brain and into our big, beautiful heart. And when I get a client to really get grounded and into their heart and get to the heart of their feelings, a horse will then my horses will come with them and join them. And they do a lot of different things to help that human feel safe to release those feelings.
That is amazing. And just curious, now, is this in-person work or this is also virtual work? Do you do both?
I do virtual work with equestrians that have horses because I can walk them through a process. With the horse, of course.
With the horse, of course. How many times have you said that, right?
That's great. So yeah, I have many people come here to do that healing work. But anyone that's in grief, I can help to get them moving because grief has to move. It has to come out of the body. It has to be released. And it's typically when a woman is feeling ready to move from that sadness that they're feeling so stuck in. And it could be from the loss of a loved one. It could be from a divorce. It could be from the loss of a home. There are a million different reasons why you're feeling grief. So I really tried to help them get to the heart of that. And what I found was when I started coaching, and for the last 8 years, I found that women come to me, mostly women in their 40s and over, who are feeling stuck, who are feeling sad, and they might feel like they're in a midlife crisis. And of course, I feel and know that it's really their soul awakening. You know, we women give so much of our lives. We're mothers and daughters and partners and we just give. So give, give, give. And by the time you get in your 40s, you kind of recognize that, whoops, you know, I've been on this hamster wheel and I don't know how to get off. And this is not where I want to be. This is not my life's purpose. And I really tried to help them get focused. And once they start coming to me, there's always this background, you know, from past trauma or past grief that has to be processed and let out.
Wow. Well, let's talk in particular to start about this bi-weekly supportive women's coaching group that you have. Could you share a little bit about that that's happening on your farm?
Yeah, I have right now. I have a Sacred Women's Circle that is, we're actually meeting every Sunday morning, but I will be starting a new group probably in March that people will apply to get into the group because we have to be a cohesive and coherent group. And we meet either via Zoom and or in person. And I do have bonus sessions with my horses for anyone that wants to travel to be a part of that beautiful healing work with the horses. So the group not only gets the support of one another, they get the support of me. And then as a bonus, they can come and do sessions with the horses.
Beautiful. And as far as the other things, looks like there's this is Monday nights, by the way, right? This is 6 to 7 p.m. Is this the one? Or is this the intensive? What's the intensive?
It depends because I have them run and then I rerun them. And so the new group coming up, it will have to be determined which evening, but I do evenings from 6 to 7. I also do weekends. I do one-on-one coaching. So, but the group coaching process is really a beautiful process where women support one another and really empower and lift one another up. So I do love the group coaching programs, but anyone can reach out to me to decide. I do offer a free session via Zoom, a half-hour session where a person will be heard, their grief will be witnessed, and then they can learn more about how I could support them.
Fantastic. And now also, by the way, you also would talk about creating a healthy and whole body, mind and soul self-discovery. Could you give us some examples of this and maybe give us some of our listeners some tips here, some tools today?
Sure. Yeah, I do believe in a healthy body, mind, and soul spirit. I am also certified as a health coach. So I have always tried to take care of my body. I believe that our body really is very self-healing if we feed it the correct foods, if we exercise, if we meditate, do yoga, all the things that can reduce stress and reduce the possibility of disease. And of course that hits the mind also. And then the spirit, you know, that's part of what the horses help with, is to really get into that soul work. So I believe in just really helping a woman to heal their body, mind, and soul. Yeah.
Good.
Did I answer that question? Yeah.
Yes, you did. And you also talk about you help develop someone's life purpose plan. Could you give us an example maybe of someone you've helped? Give us some examples of, guide us through of the work that you've done with them and now what it's like, because obviously you've helped them, you worked with them, and it's a great testimonial to the work you do. If you don't have to share their names, but give us an example. And then I want to talk about this detox program too.
Yeah. Yeah. So many clients have come to me because they have felt lost. One in particular I can think of offhand is a woman came to me last year because she was in deep, dark grief over losing a dog.
Mm-hmm.
And after a few months, most people are looking at her like, come on, it was a dog, but it was much deeper than that. And she really came to me. We did a lot of the work with the horses and together. And we really decided that dog represented so much more than most people realize. That dog was with her through really tough times, with her for 10 years. And she was able to recognize that, to realize that, and to not feel the guilt of feeling so sad over losing a dog, because dogs are our most loyal four-legged friends. And so that was just a beautiful thing to watch her go through that process and to come out on the other side. And she just has been on a beautiful journey ever since, including her health. And she's part of my sacred circle of women right now, because she came back to do a little bit of a group that I was doing with specific women. So it was a beautiful process. And a real quick story, I do have these beautiful a beautiful card deck that I do use, and I have people pull cards after we have our session, and they have beautiful messages on them. And she was thinking about getting another dog, wasn't ready, didn't want to go back to volunteering at a kennel yet. She wasn't ready. And she pulled a card, and it was about grace. And she's like, that's a nice card. Yeah. And it was a beautiful message about grace. She said, I don't feel very graceful. I said, but there's a message there. And she pulled it again 2 weeks later. And then about a week after that, she came back to me and she said, I went with my husband back to the kennel. We're volunteering. And I adopted a dog. And guess what her name was? It was Grace.
Oh, wow.
Wow. So
that's moving.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, very beautiful energy. Just opened her way up for a dog named Grace.
Amazing. And Donna, at this time, it's about halfway through. We usually take a commercial break. We're skipping
Sure.
that today, but we need to remind our listeners how we can reach you directly. So phone number, website, any form of contact if you're on social media as well before we continue.
Yeah, sure. It's DonnaCarlsonCoaching.com is my website. My phone number is 610-331-6643. And I am in Pennsylvania, and I am on Facebook. It's Donna Campbell Carlson is my Facebook personal page. So I think and then email is Donna at the number 4 healinghooves, HOOFS.com. Donna at the number 4 healinghooves.com.
Beautiful. And also, let's point out again here, if you want to reach out to her, you offer an initial consultation, Donna?
I do. I offer a 30-minute free grief session on Zoom. And again, you will be heard. Your grief will be witnessed. We can get to the heart of what could be bothering you, keeping you stuck. And then we can go from there. You can learn more about how I can support you and more about my program and costs and things like that.
Perfect. And also, let's talk about this detox program I was reading about. Would you mind sharing some details about it?
Yeah, sure. It was about 6 years ago. I was in a really bad place with my health and couldn't figure out why. My blood pressure was high. My cholesterol was high. I ended up in the emergency room and was sent to probably 7 different specialists trying to figure it out. And each specialist, God bless them, wanted to put me on medication because they were trying to treat the symptom instead of getting to the root cause of what was happening. So I went on a 30-day detox program with a company. I hope you don't mind I mention them, but it's Arbonne, which sells beautiful health-related products. And I did become
oh my gosh.
A distributor, or so I became part of their company. But I went on this program and I did a detox of gluten-free, dairy-free, all the things that, mostly sugar, and changed my diet. And I can tell you from that moment on, I found out that gluten was a big marker. I was having systemic inflammation. I was having joint pain every day. I was probably 35 pounds overweight. And for me, that was a lot because I was always a very petite person.
Oh my
So
gosh.
from then on, I have been gluten-free. I am super healthy with my diet. I make sure that I eat organic. I make sure I eat mostly vegetables and fruit. And if I eat animal protein, it should only be the size of your palm. And so that was it for me. I really, then I became certified in several health and wellness programs because I do believe in getting to the root cause. I'm not saying that medication does not help people. It is critical for critical illnesses, but You don't, your body is so capable of healing itself if you take care of it. So
Amazing. Well, thank you for being here. And again, just want to remind everyone, if you're just tuning in, we're with Donna Carlson here today. It's Donna Carlson Coaching, and she's here to help you in so many different ways. Now, let me read just something from your website. I just love the intro. It says, hope, healing, happiness, right? In every part of your life, starting over is never easy. To continue to serve those in need, she created even a free guide to help you give 10 how to find tips, how to find tips to healing and find difficult times. You can just go to the website, get that. Also, want to point out, you mentioned you can also help people attract what they want. Could you talk a little about this law of attraction and maybe manifestation? And I'm assuming it has to do with mindset, right?
it does have to do with mindset. It has to do with believing in yourself, getting clear on your focus. And I do help women to do different self-discoveries, like finding out more about your temperament, which is so important. And I have them write a vision that is in the future, and to really go deep into imagining their biggest, beautiful, most beautiful life. And I am a absolute pure testament to that, because when I was 16, my first office job was working for a realtor, and I am a realtor, but my focus at that time was I kept seeing 5-acre gentleman farms that I wanted to live on. And I am now living on a 5-acre gentleman farm. So
Wow.
it's no coincidence when you get focused and you put it out there into the universe. And I do have the women read their vision out loud, and it starts to come back to you. So it's absolutely true. And even for myself, for the last 2 years, I've been working on my money mindset, because again, I grew up in a very, lower middle class neighborhood. We didn't have any money. Couldn't go to the prom, all of those things. So I grew up with hearing, we don't have money, we don't have money, we don't. So I wanted to clear that. And once I started to clear that, opportunities just started coming to me, like being here with you today, Jill. So
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
just beautiful things. So when you change your mindset, when you are open to really asking for what you want and what you deserve, because we deserve the best life that we can possibly have. Life's way too short to not have what you want. And I'm not talking
Oh,
materialistic,
no,
I'm
I
talking really
know.
soulful stuff. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I lost my mom 6 years ago to cancer. Today's her birthday, so
Oh,
I'm
happy
dealing with.
birthday, Karen.
I'm upset.
Yeah, I
Thinking
understand
about that,
that.
and grief is hard, and it's something we
It is.
all go through in different ways. And even 6 years later, it's like, wow.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it
and
can really hit you, especially on those birthdays and anniversaries. And, the loss of your mother is we're so connected to our mothers. I mean, so connected to our mothers. Even if your
yeah,
relationship wasn't great,
yeah.
that connection to your mother goes on forever.
Yeah, so
I'm sorry for your
hard
loss.
hard day, but we can get through it. And I know, I always look at recently, let me ask you and your feelings about the impact of COVID, because it was such a horrible thing, but I really feel a lot of good came out of it, because it made us all appreciate it. First of all, we weren't alone, and it made us all kind of appreciate the fact that we're in this together, and there is hope. We can reinvent the wheel. We can move on, and also make you realize that life is so precious. Why not make the best life possible, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that is really what made me focus very deeply on helping women in grief, because there was so much grief going on during COVID. And here we are locked in our houses. But thank God for technology, even though we had a little glitch getting on this. But thank God we have this connection. And I'm honored truly to be here with you, and even to hear that brief moment of your feelings for your mother. So it's such a beautiful thing to be able to connect to people, and you are not alone in grief. You do have support. So I really want women especially to hear that today, that you are not alone, and I am here to support you.
Oh, well, thank you for that. What are some types of things that you work on people with? Do you help people like with, career changes and retirement? That's a big thing for us. I'm in my 40s, like you mentioned, you work in a lot of 40s, 50s, 60s, and these are all transitions in our lives.
Absolutely. It's all about the transitions, and I've been through them all. My first husband passed away from an addiction. So that was a 5-year demise of absolute pure hell. And we parted friends. I was able to still be his friend and understand his addiction. But while I was in that horrible place, I really felt very stuck. I didn't know how to get out of it. And it wasn't until I decided at that moment to do something to divert, and I applied to law school. I was working full time. I had my daughter. I still had to go to work full time, but I needed that diversion, and I wanted an intellectual challenge to get me out of my sad head and into something more positive. So I did the work and I applied. And the day I got my acceptance letter was the day I was able to tell my husband that I am moving on. And, I wished him well and I wished him good luck and hoped that he would find his way back to sobriety. But I was moving on. And it was in law school that I met my second husband. And believe me, I was not looking. I was open to being with another man, but I was not looking. And here came along this beautiful man that I married and
Aw.
then lost him to cancer. But I'm in my
Oh,
other now partnership with my current partner for 12 years, and we have a beautiful relationship. So life can be good on the other side of a transition, a trauma, you know.
yeah. And what about women dealing with like divorce and stuff? Do you have people like
I
that?
I totally do. And I did divorce my second husband just prior to his passing. The divorce became final. People say, do you feel guilty about that? Because, maybe that's what brought down his life. And I don't. I mean, he understood why I had to move on, even in his insanity. But I don't feel any guilt. And I was able to process all that myself and go through my own work to get rid of all that stuff,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
let it go. So, and when you do that, you're open to a new and beautiful life.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you, Donna. We still have a few minutes left in the show, so let me ask, what else do you want to share with your listeners today?
Oh, well, I guess it goes back to if you are interested in working with the horses, to just know that they offer such beautiful healing. If anyone understands chakras, they know how to unblock blocked chakras. They open that up, they feel that energy inside of us. They are, like I said, highly intuitive. So they pick up on your energy. They know when you come to them and you're all frazzled, and they really want you to then get grounded. And it's a beautiful process to watch. There's no denying it. They are not taught to do this. I ask them if they'd like to step up and help, and they always do. One of them does. I have 4 of them. And it's really just an amazing process.
Yeah.
But if you're not able to get here with me, just having a coach, because coaching is so important. We
Yeah.
really do, as coaches, try to get you to work on what it is you want to work on.
Yeah.
And if we have to process some stuff in your background, we do that. But we give you a plan, and you come up with the plan. We just help to support and to really acknowledge you for being who you are, because again, we don't get enough of that. We really don't. We're magnificent people, especially women. I do honor women, and I've had men too. I've had men in my program too. So I'm open to helping whomever. I do help children, and I'm just here for you. And I'm just so honored to have met you, Jill, and to sit with you
Thank
for
you.
a few minutes. And I thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Donna, Carlson, remind us of how we can reach you again for that initial 30-minute conversation, please.
Sure. Yeah, you can do that through my website at donnacarlsoncoaching.com, or just reach out, email Donna at the number 4 healinghooves, HOOFS.com.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for being here, for joining us and doing what you do, and looking forward to the next time we get to connect.
Me
And
too.
in closing today, did you want to leave any special quote or anything with our listeners?
My quote is to honor the horse and human spirit. That's my quote.
Beautiful. Will do. On your behalf, thank you, Donna. And to all of our
Thank you.
listeners, please stay tuned to more of the shows coming right up after the break. Don't go anywhere. Thank you again, Donna. Pleasure seeing you here today. Looking forward to the next time we connect. Bye-bye.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.